This is not history, this is memory. And tonight, you are Constantine XI. The Hagia Sophia has stood for 900 years. You can hear the cannons from inside it. They have been firing for 53 days, not randomly, methodically, the same section of wall every hour, until the stone forgets how to hold itself together. Outside, Mehmed II has 80,000 men.
Majesty!
You have
Look at the
7,000.
door! We must
You
go!
are the Emperor of Rome, the last one. And in 1 hour, the final assault begins. There is one decision left to make. Every general in this room is telling you to leave. The ships are ready. The Venetians will take you to safety. You can rebuild. You can return. You look at the door of the Hagia Sophia. You look at the harbor. But to understand why you are still standing here, why an emperor with 7,000 men refuses to abandon a city that has been dying for 200 years, you have to go back to the night Rome decided it could not fall, and what that belief cost. Constantinople in 330 AD is not a city, it is a statement. Emperor Constantine the Great looks at the narrow peninsula between two seas, the Bosphorus to the east, the Sea of Marmara to the south, and sees something no one else sees. A city that cannot be surrounded. A city that controls every ship moving between Europe and Asia. A city that, if built correctly, could last forever. He builds it in 6 years. He fills it with the greatest art, the greatest churches, the greatest walls in the known world. The Theodosian walls, triple layered, 20 kilometers long, 15 meters high, are so well engineered that military historians still study them today. For over 1,000 years, no army breaks through. No army. Attila the Hun looks at these walls and turns around. The Arab armies of the early caliphate besieged the city twice and failed both times. The Bulgars, the Rus, the Vikings who call it Miklagarther, the great city, all look at Constantinople and decide it cannot be taken. For 1,000 years, the city is right. But here is what no wall can stop. Decline does not arrive like a cannon. It arrives like water, through cracks so small you do not notice them until the structure is already hollow. In 1204, something happens that no enemy army ever managed. The Fourth Crusade, Christian soldiers sent to defend Christendom, sacks Constantinople. Not the Muslims, not the Mongols, the Crusaders. They steal everything. The bronze horses of the Hippodrome, priceless relics, centuries of accumulated wealth. They establish a Latin empire inside the city walls and rule for 57 years. When the Byzantine emperors finally return in 1261, Constantinople is not the same city. The population that once numbered 400,000 has collapsed to perhaps 40,000. The trade routes have shifted. The wealth is gone. The great palaces are empty. Grass grows in the Hippodrome. The Venetians and Genoese control the harbors. They pay no taxes. They answer to no one. The empire that once stretched from Spain to Mesopotamia now controls one city and a handful of islands. But the title remains: Emperor of Rome, Autocrat of the Romans. The language of power unchanged even as the power evaporates. This is the empire you inherit in 1449, a throne with nothing beneath it. You are 57 years old when you become emperor. You have no money. Your army numbers a few thousand men. Your walls, still magnificent, have been repaired with whatever materials could be found. Some sections are held together with prayers more than mortar. You write to every Christian king in Europe. You explain that Constantinople is the shield of Christendom, that if the city falls, the Ottoman armies will push into Europe unopposed, that this is not one city's problem. It is everyone's problem. Most kings agree with you. None of them send soldiers. The Pope promises a crusade. It never comes. Venice sends a few ships. Genoa sends one man, a soldier named Giovanni Giustiniani, with 700 troops. You make him commander of your land defenses immediately because he is the best you have. Meanwhile, across the Bosphorus, something else is being built. Mehmed II is 21 years old. He has been sultan for 2 years. He has been sultan once before at 12 and was pushed aside by his own court as too young, too inexperienced. He has spent every year since then preparing for one thing. He reads Greek, Arabic, Latin, Persian. He reads ancient accounts of every siege ever attempted against Constantinople. He identifies every weakness in the Theodosian walls. He identifies the single point where the land walls meet the harbor, a corner called the Blackenai, where the construction is oldest and most vulnerable. Then he builds something that has never existed, a cannon. Not an ordinary cannon, Urban's cannon, designed by a Hungarian engineer named Urban, who first offered his services to you. You could not pay him. Mehmed paid him whatever he asked. The cannon is 8 meters long. It fires stone balls weighing half a ton. When it fires, people report hearing the sound 40 kilometers away. It takes 60 oxen to move it. It can fire 7 times per day. On April 6, 1453, the first shot hits the Theodosian walls. The walls hold. The second day they hold. The third day they hold. But here is what holding costs. Every crack repaired at night. Every section reinforced with timber and earth. 7,000 people working through the darkness to undo what 80,000 men did during the day. For 53 days. Here is what history does not tell you about those 53 days. You walk the walls every day, every section, every commander, every breach repaired the night before. You learn the name of every soldier defending the city, not because someone tells you to,
because you need them to know that the Emperor of Rome is standing where they are standing. Giustiniani tells you the Blackenai section is the weakest. You already know. You station yourself there personally on the nights when the bombardment is heaviest. On the 41st day, a rumor spreads through the city. A side gate, the Cercoporta, has been left unlocked. A patrol finds it before the Ottomans do.
They are coming!
The gate is locked.
Pass it on! They're already inside the walls! Run for your lives!
No one claims
Hide!
responsibility.
Save your...
On the 48th day, a Venetian ship attempts to break through the Ottoman naval blockade and bring supplies. It fails. The crew is captured. Mehmed has them executed on the shore opposite the city walls, visible to every defender on the ramparts. This is not an accident. This is a message. On the 52nd night, Mehmed offers terms. Surrender the city. Walk out with everything you own. No blood, no destruction. The city intact. You call a council. Some advisors argue for surrender.
The city will survive. The people will survive. History will forgive a pragmatic decision. You listen. Then you speak. You tell them that the city has stood for 1,100 years, that every emperor who came before you held it, that you will not be the one who hands it to an enemy army without a fight. There is a word in Greek, philotimia. It means something between honor and love of one's worth, the obligation to be worthy of what you have been given. You are the Emperor of Rome, the last one, and this is what that means. The final assault begins at midnight on May 29th, 1453. Mehmed sends the irregulars first. Conscripted soldiers, men with nothing to lose. They hit the weakest sections of the wall. They are meant to tire the defenders. They do. Then he sends the Anatolian regulars, better trained, better equipped. They push further.
Giustiniani takes a wound, an arrow through a gap in his armor, a serious wound. He asks to be taken to the ships. You ask him to stay. He cannot.
The moment Giustiniani leaves the wall, his men see him carried away. A rumor spreads faster than the truth ever moves. The wall is breached. The commanders are dead. Fall back! They fall back. The Ottomans pour through a gap in the Blachernai, and then something happens that no chronicler fully explains. Someone opens the Kerkoporta, the same gate, again. Historians argue about this for centuries. Accident, sabotage, panic. No one knows. What is known? Within minutes, Ottoman soldiers are inside the walls at 2 points simultaneously. The defense collapses not from the front, but from behind. You are at the Blachernai when you hear what has happened. Your generals tell you the city is lost. The ships are still in the harbor. There is still time. You remove your imperial regalia, the purple cloak, the insignia of Rome. You pick up your sword. The accounts of what happens next are incomplete. Byzantine and Ottoman sources agree on one thing. Constantine XI died fighting.
Not on the walls, in the streets, surrounded by the last men who would not leave. His body was never found. Mehmed enters the city at noon on May 29, 1453. He rides directly to the Hagia Sophia. He dismounts. He bends down and picks up a handful of earth and pours it over his turban, a gesture of humility before God, a reminder that all conquest is temporary. Then he walks inside. The largest church in the world, the building that stood for 900 years. He orders it converted to a mosque that same day. He is 21 years old. The fall of Constantinople ends something that began in 27 BC, when Augustus Caesar declared himself the first emperor of Rome. 1480 years, 88 emperors, one city, one idea, that Rome was not a place, but a principle, that civilization had a capital, that the empire of law and order and faith had a home. On May 29, 1453, that idea ends in the streets of a city held by 7,000 people against 80,000. The last emperor of Rome does not surrender. He does not escape. He dies in the streets of his city with no imperial regalia, just a sword, fighting soldiers who will not remember his name. In Greek, his name means steady defender, Konstantinos, the one who holds. He held for 53 days with nothing. Then he held to the end with less. The Ottoman Empire that enters Constantinople in 1453 will last until 1922, 469 years. It becomes the longest surviving empire of the medieval and early modern world. But here is what Mehmed knows as he rides through those streets. Every empire has a moment when it believes it cannot fall. Constantinople believed it for 1100 years. The Ottomans will believe it for 469. Every wall eventually finds its cannon. Every empire eventually finds its Mehmed. The question is never whether an empire falls. The question is what the people inside it do on the last night. Leave a comment.
Would you have left with the Venetians or stayed?
And if this story held you to the end, hit the like button. Subscribe because the next video is about the man who built the empire that walked into this city on May 29th. The 21-year-old who read every siege account in history and then built a cannon nobody had ever built before. Mehmed II. That story is already written.